Hey Gateway Kids, this is Sam here and we are continuing in our series on the Beatitudes. I hope that you have been enjoying these videos and all the different people that have brought out some really amazing things in how we can live for Jesus in a blessed life. So for those of you that have been watching these and following along, you'll know that the word blessed, we've said, means happy in God. And so we are in verse 8 of Matthew chapter 5 today. So why don't you grab a Bible, maybe even grab a notepad or something to write in, and let's have a real think about how we can take the words of the Bible and apply it to our lives today, okay? So Matthew chapter 5 and verse 8, and when we've finished reading it, keep it open so you can see that what we're talking about is from the Bible, okay? So I've got my Bible here. Matthew chapter 5 and verse 8. It says, "Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God." Should we read it one more time together? Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. And this verse right here is one of my favourite verses in the whole Bible. And this is something that I felt God speaks to me about at a really young age. So I became a Christian when I was 14 years old, and this was one of the verses that God really spoke to me about straight away. So I'm excited to be chatting with you about it today. So I want to start off by telling you a little bit of a story, if that's okay. So me and my family, we love going on adventures, okay? I grew up going on adventures in a place called Wales. Some of you may have heard of it. It's a country in the United Kingdom, and in a particular place called Snowdonia in Wales, okay? And it's a place with loads of mountains and lakes and rivers and waterfalls, and it is one of the most beautiful places I've ever been in my life. I love it. And this year I was really blessed, fortunate to be able to take my family to Wales, to the places that I used to go. And there was a place that I'd never been before, okay? So my wife, Hannah, she heard a story, okay? She heard a rumour of this swimming pool. It's called an infinity pool. And an infinity pool is a swimming pool where the water goes right up to the edge of the pool and then kind of pours off the edge, okay? So she heard this rumour that there was this infinity pool, this swimming pool, halfway up a mountain. And so she goes, all right, let's go and try and find this. And I didn't believe it existed. I thought she was mad. I thought, I've been coming here all my life. There's no way this thing is real. But it was real. It was really there. And so one morning we decided we're going to get up early. We're going to take our little children. I've got two children, Livy, who's 3, and Zeke, who's just a baby. And we're going to climb up this mountain and try and find this infinity pool. There are no signs that show you where to go. It's not on a map. Okay, so you really have to know where you're going to get there, okay? So we figured out where it is and we start climbing, right? We start climbing. And so I've got Livy in something like this, okay? And you put it on like this. And I've got Livy on in something like this, and she's on my back, on my shoulders, and we're climbing up, and it's hard, and we have to stop, and there's no path, and it's really steep, and it's like rocky, and it's all like, oh, it was so hard. We were sweating, we were like, completely out of breath. And then we get to the top, and we climb over this like little rock thing, and there in front of us is this incredible natural swimming pool made out of a river that comes down the mountain. And as you get into the swimming pool, which was freezing, but as you get into the swimming pool, you get to look out across this entire valley of mountains, and it's really beautiful. And I've got a picture that I can show you. So this is me and my daughter Livy at the swimming pool, at the infinity pool, and you can see the mountains in the distance. And hopefully, by looking at that, 1, you can see how beautiful it is, but 2, you can see just how high up it is. Like, it was high up. It took ages to get there, and it took ages to get down again, and it was hard work. Right, so how does this story tell us or help us understand the verse, blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Okay, so here's how, okay? It's not just a random story. The motivation, the reason behind us going to the infinity pool was so that we could see it, and so we could see this beautiful view, okay? That was the reason we did it. The journey to get there was not the reason we did it. And actually, the journey to get there was really, 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 really hard work. We were sweating, we had to stop, we were out of breath, and in some way we didn't even know if it was actually there. And so it was really hard work. Now, Jesus talks quite a lot about the motivations of our hearts, the reason why we do what we do. And actually, the reason why we do what we do is really important to God. And so, seeing God as a motivation is the only thing that will keep you living pure of heart, okay? So pure of heart kind of means living a life of being good, being obedient to Jesus, doing what he has said, not giving into sin or temptation or doing things the way the world wants you to do it, but living in obedience to God. So happy are those in God who live in obedience to Jesus, doing what he has said, living a life for him, and they will see God. But the motivation, the reason is really important. Just as the reason that we went all the way up a mountain early in the morning with 2 little kids was to see this incredible view, so is the reason that we live in obedience to God and do everything that he has said is good, is so that we can see God. The amazing kind of nature of being able to see God and know him and meet him face to face, like we will one day see each other face to face and be able to touch him and behold him. And actually in the book of Revelation, the very last book of the Bible, in Revelation chapter 22 verse 4, it says that we will see God face to face. That when Jesus comes back, that's what it's going to be about. But until that point, the way we get there, the way we see God in our lives now, as well as in the future, is by being obedient to him, living pure of heart. Now, how do we do that? Really quickly, just as we end. Okay, so Psalm 119 verse 9 says, how can a young person stay on the path of purity? Which is what we want to do because we want to see God. It says, by living according to your word. Okay, so there were some things that I used on my journey up the mountain to the swimming pool that helped me on that journey. So this was one of them, being able to carry Livy and Zeke in something like this, okay? And the other thing was walking boots, okay? I had things that helped me to get there. And God has given us the Bible and the church as things to help us to get there. Okay, to get to the top, to be able to see God, to get to our end goal. And the other thing that he has given is the Holy Spirit. And in fact, Jesus says that it's the helper, the Holy Spirit, who is the one who will get us to the end. And actually, I would not have got up that mountain had I not had my wife, Hannah, encouraging me and giving me strength. And we need the Holy Spirit. We can't do it without him if we want to see God. So how do we live a life that is pure of heart so that we can see God? By living according to the Bible, by reading it, by being part of the community of God's people, and by the power of the Holy Spirit. So I pray that you have a blessed week, and we will see you next week.